the Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm a homeless guy who can read a teleprompter.
We've got a little case of new media versus old media because Valve is being sued by the oldest telecommunications company in the world who claims that they hold the patents that make Steam possible.
This lawsuit, discovered today by ESPN, was brought against Valve last month by British media giant British Telecommunications, otherwise known as BT. And they're basically claiming that all of Valve's Steam money belongs to them.
Wow. British companies have it out for video games lately. First, No Man's Sky's getting sued by Sky over the word Sky and they're in their name, and now this.
Just ridiculous.
Can't catch a break.
Quick glance at the patents involved in this suit might give you cause to worry that you'll soon lose all those games you never play. Well, fear not, because this lawsuit comes from the same company who once tried to claim that the entire internet infringed on one of their patents.
How'd that work out for you? So we got ourselves a good old-fashioned patent trolling is what it sounds like to me.
International patent trolling.
Yeah, it's the classiest form of patent trolling. But first, a little bit more background on British Telecommunications, whose origins date back to 1846 with the founding of the Electric Telegraph Company in England.
ETC, they own etc. as well, apparently.
They now provide communication services in 170 countries and employ more than 100,000 people, so they need that Steam money.
Yeah, apparently they pay 100,000 people. BT has filed a 28-page document, so you know they mean business, with a Delaware court outlining 4 separate patents that are being infringed upon thanks to Steam. Thanks for nothing, Gabe. The patents in question concern Steam's library, chat, messaging, and their broadcasting features.
Because everyone's using the chat and the messaging features.
And broadcasting. Can't wait to go home and broadcast.
Broadcast on Steam.
Yeah.
Delaware might seem like a weird place for a British company to file a lawsuit against Valve, who's located in Washington, but apparently a 2015 study showed that Delaware is a super favorable place to file patent lawsuits because of a weird combination of factors.
It is also the reason why a lot of companies form their organizational documents in Delaware. A lot of companies are listed as Delaware corporations.
And it's also why it's so exciting. You're like, hey, I'm in Delaware.
Solid state of Delaware. Shout out to my Delawareans. To open the lawsuit, BT pumps up its awesome innovation skills by bragging about, you guessed it, the telegraph. We are awesome. Stop. Of the early 19th century invention, they wrote, BT has been on the forefront of research and innovation in the world of communications, starting with its adoption in the 19th century of leading-edge telegraphy technology, including the world's first commercial telegraph service.
We're kind of a big deal. You know, we've helped popularize the telegraph. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, you might have seen it in your Back to the Future films. According to them, their continued awesomeness in inventing led to them holding some 10,000 patents by the year 2000. And now they're going to prove that Valve stepped on 4 of them.
4 out of 10,000 is not bad.
You only need to step on 1. You only need to chomp on 1 butterfly and all the dinosaurs die.
Yeah, but what about ants?
They've held some of these patents since as far back as 2003, so why they waited until 2015 to do something about them is anybody's guess.
After the not-so-humble bragging, BT moves on to complain about how much they've tried to get in touch with Valve over the last year or so, suggesting that Valve enter into a licensing contract with BT to pay for the use of Steam. Valve ignored each of the 4 attempts, giving absolutely 0 fucks. They probably tried to contact them through customer service.
Or via Telegram. Can't imagine why Valve wouldn't have responded to that. As far as BT is concerned, legally speaking, it's time for war.
The main thrust of the lawsuit document covers the 4 patents which BT feels Valve is infringing upon, and truth be told, kind of have a point. But only because the patents are absurdly broad and barely describe anything at all specifically, so not what patents we're supposed to do, but what everyone uses them for anyway.
First up is the Jenkins patent, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, which BT has held in the United States since 2003. They feel that Steam's library totally steps all over that one because the patent provides, quote, users with content that originates from multiple subscription services and delivering it through a single portal where a customer may access content for which it has access rights.
So they're also going after Netflix, Hulu, Apple.
You're next! Everybody.
Google Play, apps. It's the
public library.
It goes on to say that the portal can get those items from a remote source or from accessible storage, like, say, your hard drive.
I have one of those, so I could be infringing. So yeah, that sort of describes a bare bones version of what Steam does, and also just about any other online digital store that allows you to access your content through a server or download it at home.
The next patent is basically more of the same. The Newton patent, which BT claims is like Steam's chat functionality, states that the patent, quote, relates generally to a method for delivering structured messages comprised of information and data parts to an intended audience in a reliable and predictable manner.
Can I just say a patent should never have the words relates generally in it in any way? Doesn't seem enforceable to me.
Not remotely.
But I'm opining, which I should not do. Well, Steam's chat is reliable and predictable, so maybe that's
the
what
most
they're
important
upset
part.
about.
The Bettis patent mostly has to do with setting a status and receiving messages while you're away because it concerns, quote, a communication system in which a user is provided with different communication mechanisms and each mechanism is associated with a call control protocol. What?
My God, the evidence is piling up. Lastly, the Buckley patent, which BT claims Valve is infringing with Steam's broadcast functionality because it covers, quote, a multi-user display system and method for controlling a communal display that includes at least 2 independent workstations and an interface server for connection to a data network.
So, yes, BT has outlined a client that can have a library, chat features, away messaging, and an ability to view someone's display, but is that how you describe Steam?
Not necessarily.
No.
So luckily they didn't patent, like, big sales for stuff you're never going to use.
There probably is a patent for that. Just wait for that troll.
Or like a card system that nobody understands. Obviously, we're not lawyers, but trying to use broad applications is not what the patent system is for. Patent law basically grants any inventor a monopoly on their product in order to keep other competitors from stealing their invention and selling it themselves to the level at which the product and the idea is unique.
In order for a patent to be valid, it must be novel, useful, and not obvious.
Novel.
It also has to be a specific technology rather than a broad or overall concept, and it's hard to argue that BT's applications meet all of those requirements.
They relate generally to those requirements, though, I think. Plus, BT has a history of doing this. In the past, they've gone repeatedly after other massive companies over services that can be creatively interpreted to sound like some of their older patents.
They're currently embroiled in a lawsuit with Google over Google's search capabilities, which they apparently own, as well as some random Android features. That lawsuit led Google to file a similarly frivolous counter lawsuit about all the shit that BT violates that it doesn't own patents for.
To be fair, I do remember my grandfather talking about how much fun he had searching through all of his British telegrams that he got for key phrases. BT also sued an internet service provider in the early 2000s over a patent filed in the 1970s where they basically tried to say that the internet infringed on a patent they held, which could be loosely interpreted to sound like hypertext.
A judge later ruled it was without merit because the language was so broad it couldn't possibly be applied to the specific definition that BT was trying to accomplish. That being said, the lawsuit against Google was allowed to proceed, so anything's possible here, I guess depends on the judge.
Still, we can't see this amounting to anything more than your run-of-the-mill patent trolling because who wouldn't want to try to get some of that sick PC gaming money?
It's worth billions and billions. What do you guys think of BT going after Steam? Let us know in the comments.
For future updates on who wants Valve's money next, like this video and subscribe to the Know. Stop.
Telegraphs, Jesus.
Telegraph does.
Telegraph. Don't telegraph your joke.